Johannes, thanks for your time. We're here just after the fans forum tonight. Just give us your first impressions. Did you enjoy it?
It was nice. It was a great evening. I hope that the fans who showed up, they have the same feeling. I think that's eventually what matters. No, it was great to see them. It was great to answer some of their questions, and hopefully both me but also Zoe and Ben could give some clarity on what's going on and what we try to build here.
Yeah, and how important is that to you? You know, you and Zoe and Ben, that you just map out a little bit more of what this is hopefully going to look like.
And at the end of the day, it's fans, they play a big role in a football club, and without them it will of course never be the same and never really be worth it. So it's important that they have an understanding of what's really going on, how we want to play, how we want to structure the club, how the environment should be, and of course also where we can use each other.
Let's get into some of the topics. I mean, it's just over probably a week now since you've had the boys, the non-international boys, back. Yeah. Just give us a sense of your first impressions of working with the group.
Very good so far. Like I said down here, some of the national team guys still away. It means that we have a little bit more time with some of the younger guys to see them. They can have a fair chance. We've had already some good sessions and can nice and easy start to implement the way that we're going to play. And then of course some of the guys, they will join in Monday next week, and then some will come a little bit later. But it's good. I like that we have the time that we need, I think.
On the younger players particularly, because obviously much has been made about the work you did at Norwich, and Ben's very keen now to reconnect that academy pathway.
Yeah.
What's your first impressions of the younger players particularly?
It's good. I said it when I came here because that was the feeling I had also from just watching from the outside, but there's a great academy. There's so many young players to be proud of, and also so many young players that, in my opinion, can take the next step. And the next step for them is championship football with Norwich, and then hopefully in the future even bigger steps. But I think that the foundation is here. We have a great pool of very good players, and for us, of course, to start to integrate them in the training, and then eventually in the games as well. So there's a lot of work for us to be done, but also of course for the players, because they have to get used to the new system and new way of playing. But the quality is there, and the potential is there, definitely.
And on the point about the players, I think you did say in the forum that you've had obviously a lot of meetings. You're trying to tailor how much information you put into them, but the sense you're getting is that there's a lot of excitement there with the group. They like what they've heard from you.
I think there is, and without mentioning too many names, but we already had conversations with some of the players coming back to us and say, okay, this is really a way that for them is also very good, because they are in more offensive situations. We create even more chances. They can see through training that hopefully we'll get into a lot of situations in the games where we can score goals or at least have chances. So the offensive players, they also have that feeling. That's the feedback so far. Hopefully we'll be even better.
What I did think was really interesting in that segment was you sort of revealed that you basically said prior to all the guys coming back into camp, you'd reached out and spoke to some of the senior players.
Yeah.
Just give us an insight into what that looked like and why you felt that was important.
Yeah, I think it was important both to the captain and vice captain and just some of the players in that leadership role on the team, just to give them a little bit of clarity on what they can expect when they arrive. Who am I? Also just to have a conversation, also for them to tell me who they are. So it's not when they step in week 2 or 3 in pre-season that we meet for the first time. No, we have met, we have spoken to each other, and they know what the pre-season will look like.
Yeah, a part of pre-season, unfortunately, I'm sure you don't really want to spend too much time on it, is the window that runs alongside what you're trying to do in the football side. Both you and Ben were asked about that. I think Ben said that clearly we have players who the market might be interested in, and I'm not going to stand here and bowl all the names, because we know the ones who are getting linked were potentially moving on. But just to go back to your unveiling at Carrow Road, where you said, look, all I want to do is come into the building and assess these players, and that's all I'm interested in. And moving it on, that was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Is that where your head's at still with those players? You just want to assess everything you've got?
Yeah, more or less. I would say it would be unfair for me to say that from day one I will just go and say, okay, we need this and this and this. No, I have to give them a chance. We have to see. Also sometimes, that as well, then players can surprise, and then players where maybe initially we thought, okay, they were maybe not good enough, but then you can see in training and some pre-season games that, okay, maybe they can take the steps. So I think it's fair for me to give them the chance, and then of course, we have to be ambitious also in the transfer market. So we have a great recruitment department that is, working 24 hours a day to find potential targets for us. But for me as a coach, it's more important to spend time with the players that I can affect here and now. And then, of course, we always have to be there. We always have to be in the market if something is important for us. Everyone can see at the moment we need maybe a left back, and that's what we will look for. The recruitment department is working night and day to find that.
Which was my next question. I mean, how we're about a month out now from the Oxford game. As the head coach, you want that clearly resolved.
Yeah.
Does it get to a point where it becomes more and more urgent? Because as it stands, you let, not you, but the club let 2 senior left backs go at the end of last season.
Yeah.
You do look like that is a missing part of your squad.
Yeah. I think also looking a little bit into the future for this club, the ambition should be that we have a very, very great team, and we can support with 2 to 3 top players in every window. So it should never be a window where the turnover is too big and we have to bring in too many new players and we have to say goodbye to too many players. No, we should have that solid base in the team where we can add something top quality from outside. And of course, maybe we need 1, 2 or 3 players more than that. I don't know. We have to find out, but definitely we need a left back. But what is important is that the guy that we bring in should have the qualities. And then I prefer that we take our time, we find the right one instead of things that just goes fast.
One of the fans then, when it was opened up to the floor, he asked you and Ben about Adam Eder. We know the situation there. We know there's a lot of speculation around him. But again, it felt like listening to you just restated what you'd said at your unveiling. You want to get that guy in the building. He's back in the building now. You want to assess him in pre-season, and then you'll make your decisions moving forward.
See it from another perspective. Imagine that he was a striker in another club with his track record, with his history, academy background, and so on. What would we say about him? He'll be a quite interesting striker, I will guarantee. So I think it will be wrong for me to say that we cannot spend time on him or we should not give him a fair chance as well. I hope that he will find that the way that we do things now will also encourage him. It will also give him the feeling that okay, this is the right place for me, and that's the ambition for now, because I think he's a good player with some good qualities, and he can definitely be a striker for us here.
So I want to ask you about 2 players who, one you've signed as a club, Jose Cordoba, and another younger player you've got on a new deal, another striker, Ken Abbo. But Jose, just interested, how close have you been following at the Copa America, and what do you like in his game, and how big a player could he be for you?
Yeah, close, of course, and without being disrespectful, we of course hope that these players play in international tournaments, that they come home as fast as possible. But they did well, to be fair, Padam, and that's of course also because he performed well. He's a physical, very strong defender. He's good 1v1. He's comfortable on the ball. He dares to dribble, to bring the ball forward. But I think both for now, but especially also looking into the future, he's a player that can be even better, but also better to an even higher level than this. And that's also important for us when we bring in players, that they have some performance level for now, but also some level where we can see that they can actually improve.
And maybe that also would be where Ken Abbo is in his career. He's still a young man. He's on that pathway now, but I'm sure Ben was very keen to let you know that there's a player there, and the fact that you've got him as a club on a new deal. Just talk about him, what your first impressions are of him, and then maybe, without giving too much away, where you could see him next season. Is it maybe the loan route for him, do you think?
Yeah, let's find out in a couple of weeks what will be the best for him. For now, it's for him to get in shape with the rest of the team, to find out the way that we're going to do things, and then of course to show what he can do. I think he's a great striker. I think there's a big potential in him. He has some great movements. He's one of those classic strikers that are really, really good at running in the backside of the defenders, having these small movements in and around the box and so on, where he's very, very clever. So definitely a player with a future here. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we have to find out what will be the best solution for him for the next 6 months and for this season.
You and Ben were asked, obviously the news has been confirmed, the club have confirmed Andy Hughes has moved on. Is it that in an ideal world you will now look to bring somebody in, and how involved did you be in that process?
Involved, and like I also said here down at the meeting, it's most of the things that we do is a we thing. So we should never hire anyone, or we should never buy any player where it's only a one-man decision. No, we have to find out together, and we have to find some candidates, and we're already started with that. So it's an important role for us, and it will be an important role also in the future. So again, like with the players, it's important we bring in the right guy, and rather spend one day extra in finding that right guy instead of just bringing a new coach. But it is an important role, and we have to bring in one.
And on the coaches more broadly, I thought it was an interesting question was put to you about, inevitably there's a lot of focus on you and the players and how that chemistry's starting to work. But you were asked about the other coaches, Narcis and Paul Clement, and it feels like you've already got a good connection with those guys.
Yeah, and again, just like with the players, Ben and I, we met and had a meeting here during the summer holidays, and we decided that it would actually be a good idea to reach out to these coaches, also to let them know what the plans were for the future and how we see them in the project as well. So we started already in the summer, and I think some of them, they were on vacation and different places all over the world while we did these meetings. But we did it back then, and we also did it when we had the first day, and then it's an ongoing process where we do it from day to day. But again, the feeling that I have is that they are really, really eager to get started the way that we're going to do things, and also we can be inspired of some of the things that they can do.
Just moving on to more what's ahead now. I mean, the Stevenage game, that friendly should have been, we're recording this on Monday night, that should have been tomorrow night, Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Clearly not going to take place now. Was there any thought, did you want the club to maybe explore getting another game in? What was your mindset?
No, I was quite clear from the beginning when that one was cancelled that then we used the training week instead, because it is, of course, the players have to get used to a new way of approaching the everyday life, with the preparation that we do, with the sessions that we do, with the intensity in it, but also, of course, the cognitive learning in it, which is, to be fair, also for some players it's a little bit more than what they're used to, and I think we can easily use a training week more before we have the first game of the preseason. That was more than fine with me.
And that first game will be now Northampton this coming weekend. Just more broadly, what's your approach to preseason? Are you a type of coach who will make 11 changes at half time in games, or
I think in the beginning here, again, to give everyone a fair chance, so we have to give them game minutes, and then of course the closer we get to the start of the season, we have to find the team, and we have to find the shape, and we have to find the starting 11, but also of course also the starting or the squad for the first game, and that will be the last 2-3 games of preseason, where that will be more clear and obvious from outside who will play. But here in the beginning, the first couple of matches, we will give game time to more or less everyone.
And in terms of the programme as it's been mapped out, we know you've got a couple of one local game now, then you're out in Belgium, you come back here, and then out in Austria and finish with St. Pauli. I mean, it's pre-season, so it's about fitness primarily, and as you say, coming to the point where you line up for Oxford. But are you happy with that flow of opposition, the different type of tests?
What was important for me was that it's high-level games, so it's against clubs from the Bundesliga, from the Belgium league, Club Brugge who performed well last season. Standard Liège the same. So top level where we can get into speed as fast as possible. Play games with intensity, and again, especially here in preseason, the result is maybe not that important. What is important is that we get up to speed quite fast, and we get used to the tempo of these games. So. That's the most important part for us, but I'm satisfied because it's going to be good games.
Yeah, and a couple more if I can, Johannes. And following on from that point, the style of play. I mean, you asked about it, I think, that you're unveiling, and what do you want to do? And he said it's about the ball and it's about dominating games. And that, I mean, Ben again, I thought was quite revealing. Said that style of play element was maybe the factor that made them want to go and bring you to the club, or at least try and convince you. There was quite a funny anecdote from you about the England Euro experience has been a bit hard work, albeit they're now in the semi-finals. But is it ultimately about, yes, it's winning games, as you said to the fans who are here today, but to do it in a way that excites and that wants people want to come and get behind this team? And
it is, and that's the short answer. But of course, also from a club perspective, to create players that are interesting for even bigger clubs than us. Like Ben also said, it will be kind of sad if we had a summer window when no one was calling, because it would just mean that we have no players that are really interesting, or not really interesting. So of course we have to create that style of play where the attacking players they can perform, they can show what they can do, they can play with each other, they can start in relations and combinations and so on, but also of course show their qualities. That's important for us, and that's important in the way that we approach things. Both, of course, for us to get results, but also to generate some transfers, so we can put even more emphasis on our academy, even more emphasis on our first team here. So eventually, again, it's a process where it will take some time, but we can build nice and easy from season to season.
As you say, it will take time, and you and Ben both reiterated that again tonight. Final point, the message that you gave to the fans here tonight, but more broadly, it's just building that connection, that identity, that win or lose, obviously hopefully it's more wins than losses, but they go to Carrow Road every weekend, they come away, they identify with that team on the pitch. That's what it boils down to.
Yes it is, and we know better than no one, I think, that this is a club where Premier League will always be that thing we discuss when a season starts, but maybe also when a season ends. And to be fair, I think there's so much quality in this group here of players, staff, support from more or less everyone. So I think definitely that will always be the ambition. So we can talk about being patient, and of course we have to be, because we are about to build something here, but we have to be competitive as well. And that's that fine balance we have to always, juggle between. But it's interesting. It will be tough, and it will be hard, and it will be difficult, but hopefully also fun.